Hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, a push stick for your table saw. Well, as for many brands and models as there are table saws, there are also commercially available push sticks for them. And some of them are big bucks. And I got to thinking about it and I thought, why not make one on the show? And then those of you who may not have the resources to buy one of these commercially available ones could make one for yourself that is just as good, just as safe, and just as usable for your table saw. So it all starts off with some layout, and for that we're going to head over to the bench. We are going to do our best to keep this design as simple as humanly possible. And what I have here is a piece of 1/8 inch hardboard, and I've got, it's an 11 by 7 inch piece of paper glued to it. The paper, of course, is for clarity. So what I'm going to do for starters is I want to put a line right across the bottom here at the 1 inch mark, and we're just going to draw that right across. Whoops, let's get some more lead in our pencil. There we go, right across, just like that. Pretty simple so far, eh? Well, from here now we're going to want to place a 45-degree line from our 1 inch mark right here, right up to the top of our board. Just like that. And now, using an 1.25 inch circle template, we're just going to round off this edge here, and as well we're going to round off our back edge. And then our edges of our paper here will end up being our vertical lines, or our front and back of our push stick. Now I know it doesn't look like much at this point in time, but don't worry, it's going to come together. Well, for a handle, everybody wants to get fancy. And honestly, why not try a tried and true design being a handsaw? And all you need to do is just take your handsaw, I'm sure you have one in your shop of some kind, and we're going to trace around it, including your hand hole, of course. And this is going to be the handle for our push stick. And at this point, all we want to do is, again, with that 1.25 inch circle template, we're going to round off in between the handle that we just traced and our line at 1 inch above the bottom. So where do we go from here? Well, from here, we're going to want to take this over to the table saw, or sorry, to the scroll saw, because we want to cut this out, because this now will be the template for our push stick. We do not want to use a 1/8 thick material to push something through the table saw. So let's head over to the scroll saw and cut this out. Well, you can make this push stick out of whatever 3/4 inch material you have. I was going to make it out of pine that I had up on the rack, and then I found this piece of 3/4 inch construction grade ply. And this is just as good for a push stick as any. In fact, it's probably stronger than what the pine would have been. So, well, actually it's definitely stronger than what the pine would have been. So what we're going to do is use our template, and you don't have to make a template, but honestly, once you try this push stick, you're probably going to make a couple of these. So it's always good to have the template so that you can trace it as I'm doing here instead of having to draw out another one. But either way, we're going to place our template there lined up with a flat edge of the bottom, and we're going to trace it out. And once we get it traced out, we're going to install a number 7 reverse tooth bit into our scroll saw, and now we're going to cut this one out of the ply. And with that cut out, we're going to use a 1/4 inch roundover bit and round off all of the profiles inside the handle on both sides, except for this flat edge. And now that you've got that roundover routed, just give it a good sanding all over. Well, we now need some kind of a block here and to be able to hook our work. We could have cut one into it, but I'm not a big fan of doing that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a piece of maple. I'm not even sure how thick this is. This is 3/8 of an inch thick maple, and we're just going to apply some glue and glue it to the back end here of our push block. And then we're going to let that set up. And there you have it. A push stick. Guys, this is such a simple design and so quick to make. With the template and the actual stick itself, it probably took me about a half an hour to put together. Over the years, I've made several variations of this design, and it's never let me down. And the thing that I like about it is that eventually when you use a push stick like this, as you can see in this photo here, the bottom will get eaten up or chewed up or cut up by the saw blade. I would rather see this push stick get chewed up than see my hands get chewed up. But the great thing about it is that that little block that we put on, that we glued on the back end, I can usually line up a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch chisel and shear that block off once it gets chewed up, and then run the actual push stick through the jointer, giving myself a nice flat surface again. And I just glue another block on the end, and I keep going and going and going until, well, with this one here that's chewed up, there isn't much left of it, and that's why I wanted to make a new one. And that's when I thought maybe I'll bring it to you guys because it has served me so well. Guys, there's a lot of different ways that you can push wood safely through a table saw, and you should really be using a push stick of some kind. And I don't care if it's a commercial one or a commercially available one or if it's a shop made. I have plenty of commercially available ones, and I also have plenty of these shop made ones. And either way, anything that you can do to keep your fingers and your hands away from those blades is a good thing. Guys, really give this a try. Change the design up if you wish. If you don't like that big handle on there from the handsaw, then don't use it. If you want to add more at the bottom to give yourself more leeway when it comes to planing it or cutting it down after it gets worn, go ahead. If you want to make it wider, make it wider. Do whatever you want to do with it, as long as it's safe and as long as it gets your hands away from the blade. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in this week. I hope you've enjoyed the project. It's been a lot of fun for me. It's been a long time coming, as I've needed one for a while, and now I have another one and another new template that I can make more as time goes on. Guys, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Click that bell so you get notifications of future episodes of the show. And I hope you're going to join me again next week when I bring you yet another woodworking video.